Greetings to all our viewers. I am Talita Mkafana. A couple of weeks ago, a well-performing school here in the Eastern Cape made headlines in all the media houses for all the wrong reasons in the country, apart from dealing with the issue of 200 learners who had tested positive for COVID-19. Instead of dealing with the issue at hand, some individuals found an opportunity of saying their peace of mind about the school's principal, Luzuko Mbana. The Informer visited the school's principal, Mr. Mbana, to hear his side of the story and why he is hated openly by so many.
Greetings to your viewers and listeners.
All right, let me start by asking you, how are you feeling?
Well, after this very difficult moment and after having some time to rest at home, I am feeling much better now, but not 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
But can you tell us what exactly happened before you were airlifted to the hospital? What did you feel in your body? What happened? Just as a person.
Yes, thank you very much for the question, because it's going to give me an opportunity to also explain to your viewers that I am not immune to any disease. But the very point that I just want to correct is that I was never airlifted, but yes, an ambulance was organized for me and I was taken to a hospital in Port Shepstone, a private hospital, yes. I felt flu like anybody else, but then it went a bit further. That from the environment that I'm working in with the outbreak of COVID-19, I felt I should go for a test, regardless of the fact that we were all tested at school. But our results were never given to us until to date. So I felt I should go to a private doctor to conduct my own test for COVID because the sickness was going on like I felt I should. So after 3 days after taking the test, then the results came. Indeed, I was positive. Then the doctor suggested to me that I should be going to a quarantine, and also suggested, because this is a family doctor, he had seen my condition, that I should not be staying at home. So that's how I went to hospital. Then the sickness or the illness advanced when I was in hospital. But then the doctors quickly got hold of it and then they arrested the sickness. Then I was lucky that I recovered from COVID-19.
Did you test for the second time so that you can be seen if you're negative or so?
Well, when I was in hospital, regular tests were made, your blood test in particular, on a daily basis. So they saw the drop in the viral load. And so when I got out of hospital, I was viral free. So there was no need for me to undertake another test. And so they said maybe after 30 days, say on the 4th month, then if I feel anything, I can go for a second test. Yes.
No, I see. Now, let's come now to the issue of the learners.
Yes.
Let's talk before you open, because the issue of the COVID-19 was always there before you opened the school.
Yes.
What preparations you did for the reopening of the school?
Thank you very much again. But then let me also, before getting to answer your question,
yes.
If you remember, there was some confusion around the reopening of schools.
Yes.
There was an initial instruction that was issued by the Minister of Education to say that schools should open on the 1st. And although she addressed the nation on the 1st, but learners, because we have a hostel here, had already arrived for schooling to start on the 1st. And so hence the tone that changed to say, let us use the first week of June for orientation around COVID-19. And so I think I need to clear that one, because it's one of the things that's perceived as arrogance on my side. It was not that we opened out of our own evolution, but we opened because there was an initial instruction to say schools should reopen on the 1st. But because of the hostel facilities that we have, learners started arriving on the 30th and on the 31st. So when the instruction to say that we should open on the 8th, our students were already at school. Now, coming to your question, we have a lot of students here. And so it means that our preparations had to be in place before anything could start. Now, the first thing that we did, way back when I was about to start, when I started as the principal, we made our own boreholes for water. So water scarcity is not a problem for us. Then we extended our hostel facilities to at least maintain the social distancing when learners are at the hostels. Then we also procured our own PPEs and our own sanitizers and all of that. Then we also requested parents to say those materials, your face masks that the learners are using at home, should be at least using them when coming to school, and at least bring one spare face mask and a sanitizer, because ours had not yet arrived and those of the department had not yet arrived. And so the first 2 days, in fact, on the first day when they arrived, they used their own this thing. And so ours had arrived. On the first, we gave them the face masks, 2 each, and that plastic face cover, then the sanitizers. We also placed sanitizers in each class. We also placed small water tanks in front of the classrooms. And so even at the hostels, we had procured extra beds there, so that learners are not forced to sleep in bed in 2. So each learner was sleeping in her or his own bed, as we had previously arranged. Because when we closed for Easters, we knew that there was this COVID-19 coming. And so we prepared ourselves very, very well. And so there was nothing that we can say right now that was missing in terms of preparations for COVID-19. We also set up a committee, COVID-19 committee, which attended a training offered by the Department of Education and the Department of Health. And so that committee came back to train other teachers who trained the learners. And so that committee includes the general workers who came back to form a bigger COVID-19 school and hostel committee. So we were really up to scratch insofar as the preparations for the reopening of schools faced with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now, when this, tell us about how did you know that there are learners that are COVID-19, or how did you confirm the cases here, especially towards the learners? What happened?
In reality, there is a Facebook account that was opened by a certain Mr. Dlambeu Zuvugin.
Okay.
But strangely, this Facebook account was opened on the 31st of May, even before schools reopened. And to say this is a Makaula Secondary School concerned parents account.
Okay.
And so they started posting there, even though we were not aware of any cases at school. Then on the 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, or 3rd of June, then some mild flu was reported. Then I requested teachers, because you know, when you are in the midst of, or in the thick of things, your mind tends to forget, especially that we had opened and there was nothing that was happening. Then we tended to forget that there is an outbreak, this COVID-19 outbreak. And so we were then confronted with a situation where there was a sister to the same guy, this Mr. Dlambeu, who said she was bringing medication to her son. Now, because of the correspondence from the Department of Education, a circular that was talking to the visitations of people, including parents, to schools, I said she should leave the medication with the security, because she wanted to talk directly to the son. I said that is not allowed. So then I don't know what happened, because I did not stay at the gate. But then that started, then I received a phone call from a certain Mrs. Oya from Johannesburg, who said to me that she was reporting the sickness at her home at Maboko here in Mount Freya. Included was her son, sort of to excuse her from reopening schools. I said that is well and fine, keep her at home. Then my mind then felt secured in one way or the other. Then all of a sudden I heard from the teachers that there is a Siwoya boy who is not well. Then I immediately requested the teachers to call me that boy. In inquiring, then I found out that this is the boy whose mother had phoned that he was sick with COVID-19. Then you would not be coming to school. This was a week after this thing. Then when these boys were, when I saw that this boy was here, I gave him the permission to go back home. Then I requested the Department of Health, a certain Mrs. Makaula, who said to me, we do not test learners or people without showing the symptoms. Then I said, but then I can feel that there is something coming here. She said, no, they must first show certain signs. Then I said, how will I know? Then I escalated this thing. I phoned Mr. Mtsinwa, who is the chief whip, to say, Swaleba, please, that's her clan name, Swaleba. Please, can you intervene here? I think I have a problem. It's either I send these kids home to infect their relatives and parents. And so we are not going to be in control of this, of this thing. Then he made an intervention. Then Department of Health was dispatched to the school for testing learners, teachers, and support staff. Then they started taking about 25 of our learners for testing, because those were the learner 3 were a bit serious. And they could see, as the people who work for the Department of Health, that these were very serious. Then they took them immediately to hospital. Then they quickly processed their samples and discovered that, except for 2, all of them tested positive. Then they came back now to test the rest of the learners. And so that's how the 204, this thing came in. Then when the Department of Health initially came in and discovered that these learners were positive, they said the school should not phone the parents, because the parents are going to panic. And when they panic, they will come here and contract this COVID and take it back to their families and communities, something that they do not want to happen. Now, as from that date, Mr. Nomapuni, our control sort of, I would say, stopped. We were no longer in control of things. The Department of Health, the politicians, and other relevant departments, Department of Social Development. Now they said they were going to conduct this test, which they did, and they will call the parents. Then we should only assist in saying parents should come for the results of their learners. Now we call parents to come in for the results of their kids, which indeed happened. Now why was that the case? The Department of Health wanted to organize other departments like the social development to come and provide counseling to both parents and learners of all the kids, regardless of their test results. So, and that also did happen, the counseling and all of that, on the day when results were released to the parents. And so that's when learners were taken for quarantine. And so at that stage, we already as a school ceased to be in control of things. There was no school absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, that boy, the first boy, that he was reported to you by the mother, was supposed to be at home. It means
Yes.
he came to school very sick. Already he was sick when he came to school.
Yes, according to
the
the information
Yes.
provided to us by the parent.
Okay.
So I had thought that the boy was not even here at school.
Okay.
I was surprised to be told by the teachers that this boy is here and is very, very sick. Then that's when my hopes then to say that we had secured the school from this COVID-19, this thing. So I started now to panic and include this the politician, like in the case of Mr. Mtseno, and he also involved other. I should really take this opportunity, Mr. Nawapunga, to thank Umzimvubu local municipality, to thank Alfred Zo municipality, to also thank Her Royal Highness, Chieftainess, Unokwezi Makaula, Mr. Zola Mlenzana, who is a member of parliament, and Mrs. Mbana, who is an MPL, and all other departments that were involved, health and the social development, for the role that they played. Because when this happened and was reported on the media, it was as though people are going to die. But I'm happy to report to you that we have resumed classes and we had no casualty from COVID-19. Now, which means that the role that the school played and the departments and the assistants that came in to help out the school indeed worked out, let alone the panic and all the other things that were said. But it means that we knew our story and we acted in a safe way to save lives for both learners and teachers.
Okay, before now you reopen the school, I heard, I don't know, you are going to confirm that it was fumigated by this company, Bidvest.
Bidvest.
Yes. Did they come and fumigate the school?
Yes, I even have a certificate.
Okay.
That they fumigated the school.
Oh, I see.
That was even before the schools reopened.
Okay.
I think they came on the 29th of May for the chemical to settle in and for us to be allowed to get a chance to clean the school. So the school was fumigated. We even procured our own fumigation chemicals and equipment. So when learners left the hostels, there was cleaning done by the staff and fumigation. And so when they leave the classes, cleaning took place in the classes and fumigation. So almost on a daily basis, this is what was happening. On up and above what Bidvest cleaning services did for the school. Yes.
I see. It means anybody could say my school is safe now when it comes to COVID-19.
Yes.
When those precautions have been taken.
Even after, just to add on this, even after the outbreak, when the MEC visited the school, then there was a volunteering company that also came before this last reopening now to fumigate the school and the boarding facilities. So we had two major fumigation periods here, besides our own cleaning and our own small fumigation that we do for ourselves at school.
Okay, let us talk about, in my introduction, I talked about what is said by the people outside. Yes. Maybe you can go to what you wanted to say. They say you detained the learners, they say you are arrogant, they say you rule with iron fist, they say you let learners wash using cold water, all those things. Maybe let me hear you saying something about what the people are saying. Even during the meeting on Monday, some parents tried to caution you about the issues that I'm talking about. What would you like to say?
I think first of all, I should thank you for asking that question. Mm. The issue of arrogance, iron fist, whatever is said about me, I should think these are the things that people look at you without hearing from you or asking questions about you. This is sort of the conclusions that they come to, especially when you follow the rules to the core. Because if you look at other hostels in other schools, you wouldn't even know when is the school time. Learners will be coming to school, going out. You do not know when the school starts and when the school breaks. It's just that confusion. Now, when you have a system that is working, instead of people coming to you to ask as to what is it that's working for you, how are you able to maintain that? I'll just give you an example about myself. When I started as a principal here, way back in 2006, by the way, results were at 27%. To date, results are at 92%. Now, I went to Makaula S.S.S secondary school, one of the schools that were a pride of the district under Mr. Matikizela. Then, because I had never been a principal nor a member of the SMT, I was taken from the staff room. Then I said, let me learn from the best. Then I spent the whole day there with my learners and with my teachers. Fortunately, the number was very low then. We were about 6 teachers. And my learners were below 100 they were below 200. And so it was easy to transport them to Mbokwana, where we could see what does it mean. When you say it's a school, what does it take to have a school? Okay. So they did an excellent job for us. Now, returning from that trip from Mbokwana, unfortunately, Mr. Matikizela belonged to a rival teachers union. So immediately after that, I was branded an enemy. Because I belonged to another teachers union, he belonged to another teachers union, and people cautioned me about this thing. I said, no, I'm not about to discuss union politics. I'm only going there to learn about how to run a school. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Matikizela was branded in the same manner that you say people brand me. This iron fist and this and that and all of that. Because we are following a school code of conduct here, a copy which I have in my office. But this is not something that we put there and not follow up. So we live by our code of conduct. So if you follow the rules, people will. But the department, if that is the case, the department has got some rules in terms of admissions. We are one of the schools that are accused of over-admissions. Now, if that is that is true, why would we have the numbers of learners that we are currently having? I'm even scared of mentioning them in the media, because the department will come for me. But we have well over 1,000, which is the benchmark. Now, are all the parents who are sending their kids here of the view that Mbana is rude, is arrogant, and all of that? I don't think that is true. But people can say whatever they want to say. But when we are still there, Mr. Nomapung, I would love to ask you to give me an opportunity, because there's a very important message that our former president, President Thabo Mbeki, said. And when he was unveiling Unkosi Albert Luthuli Legacy Project in August 2004. Yes. Now, he said the following, and I quote, "As part of the efforts to liberate ourselves from apartheid and colonialism, both physically and mentally, we have to engage in the process of telling the truth about the history of our country, so that all of our people, armed with this truth, can confidently face the challenges of this day and the next." He continues to say, and I quote, "This labor of love, of telling the true story of South Africa, has to be intensified on all fronts, so that as Africans we are able to write, present and interpret our history, our conditions and our life circumstances according to our knowledge and experience. It is a challenge that faces all Africans everywhere on our continent and in the diaspora, to define ourselves not in the image of others or according to the dictates and fancies of people other than ourselves." He continues to say, "I am confident that through our combined efforts, together we can make the lives of our people sublime and magnificent, uplifting particularly those who occupy the lowest rung of our social order. In doing so, we will emulate Chief Albert Luthuli in leaving behind us footprints on the sands of time," close quote. Now, I feel that the opportunity that is presented to me today by you gives me a great opportunity to present the story about Makaula Senior Secondary School. Yes. Now, I do this not as a sign of arrogance, as many people might perceive, but as a sign of respect to an institution that has made me to be who I am. And in the case of Makaula Senior Secondary School, we are about the legacy of the late Reverend Mdani and Mr. Ngumbela, who was the first principal of the school. Yes. And so I feel, Mr. Nomapunga, that this presents to me an opportunity to say good things about the school, and that, as I've said, as a respect to the founding fathers of the school. Thank you very much.
All right, you say nice words, and when I listen to what you are saying, you are inviting everybody in this area and parents to come together and work with you towards making this school the best of the school.
You know, you're reminding me of something here. When we started the evening studies here, everybody was saying, but how are we going to sustain this with crime in Lukangeni like this and that and this and that? We called the parents, informed them about this. Then we called the sub-location heads, Isbona, into a meeting, 6 of them, when we started this thing, way back in 2007, evening studies. And we involved the community, and we even had a committee of former students who are not only based in South Africa, but who are based at Lukangeni, to help us to make sure that we give so much time for learners for this teaching and learning. And I can tell you without fear or favor that since 2007, when we started evening studies, there had been no incident whatsoever up until to date. And there are many other things that we involve the community in. We have the hostel facilities here. Of course, the caterer is appointed by the Department of Education. And we insist that those things like your vegetables that can be procured locally, they should do that. And local people are cultivating vegetables and supply them to the school, to the hostel, and to our school nutrition program. And again, I have about 47 support staff, your general workers. They are all from the location, 47 of them. So that is why I'm saying I have no doubt in my mind that the school belongs fully to the community, because it is not because we are saying the school was built at Lukangeni, but the community is able to play its role. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, we were in the process of renaming a girls' hostel and the boys' hostel, honoring local people, Mr. Mlenzana, the old man, and Mrs. Novukela, the former teacher here, whose father-in-law was one of the founders through the Presbyterian Church of the school. And so the school fully belongs to the community. But there are naughty people, Mr. Nomapunga, who would want to use tribalism, exploit tribalism, and that sort of brandishes everybody else in the location as anti-Mbana and as not being involved in the happenings and the developments in the school, whereas that is not true. So we even have in place a project steering committee that was set up when we were told that the school was going to be built together with the hostels. That has got the support of high-profile people in the location. So I still want evidence, Mr. Nomapunga, to the contrary. Thank you.
Now let me talk one. I don't know. I can't remember the year, but you were shown by the media beating a child or beating the learners here. Are you still using corporal punishment?
Let me first of all correct that.
Yes.
I never appeared on any video. That was a video that was taken by Elena in class. So it has got nothing to do with me. Now, as a rule, as a policy, by law, we are not allowed to use corporal punishment. So I am not here to break the rules of South Africa. Yes.
When you talked to me, you told me that you went to this particular school which you regarded as doing well when it comes to education. You came back and there were few numbers, the school was small. But I'm here today, the school is big. Talk to us. Where did you start? You find 6 classes or so many classes and you build the school to what it is today. How did you do that?
Sorry, I'm accepted.
Yes, God.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Diabulela Mr. Nomapunga kakhulu kalombuzo wakho. Ebunyanisweni ngo-2006 I was appointed to act as the principal here, as our principal had been relieved of AQTs in March of that year. Things were not very good, but one good thing is that we had not reached a stage so makude kuvalwe isikolo kuthiwe akufundwa.
Okay.
So the school was there.
Switch off.
Thank you.
Amanzi. Apa amanzi. Bunga ta? Okay.
Thank you. Now, this is a long story.
Yes.
But my only advantage here is that I am 30 years in this school now. And that there's 16 years of me as the principal. So ndifunde into eninzi apha esikolweni. Ko-principal abathathu, uMr. Majova, uMr. Mpumza, kunye noMrs. Bobi.
Okay.
So yandenza ke loo nto leyo, nale team ke ndandiqale nayo, a team of about 6 teachers. Into kokuba siyazi into kokuba masithini, because besisazi noba konakele phi na. So we canvassed ke i-SGB yethu, sacanvassa abazali ukuthi masilungise isikolo. Saqala ke ngo-renovate ii-classes esasinazo, into ezincinci nje, sacheba ingca, satyala imithi, salungisa ii-toilets. And kwanomthetho othi isikolo singena ngabani ixesha, siphuma ngabani ixesha. All those small things, sarenovate ihostel yethu endala pha phezulu, sayifakela umbane. Ke yenza nengxaki zayo loo nto leyo. Ngoba kaloku iyabonwa uba idiscipline ikwizinga eliphezulu, yasizela ke loo nto leyo nazo bonke iintlobo zabantwana. Ezafika ke kodwa ke noxa kunjalo asamoshakalelwa kakhulu. Kanti ngo-2006 kunjalo, i-results zethu improved. Zayotsho 32%. Siqale utitsha ngo-April 2006. Then ngo-2008, zenyuka to 45%. The rest is history. Because as I speak to you today, i-results zethu stand at 91.2%. Above 90%, something that has never happened in the history of the school. Now, kwakhona, since 2013, esi scholar has been leading in terms of bachelor passes in the district. Kude kube namhlanje sise number 1 in the district, Alfred West, ngokwe number of bachelors. Kwakhona, something that has attracted abantu apha esikolweni, into kokuba in as much as we have hostel facilities, but ifees zethu ayizo fees ezithi abantu abanawo-afforda ukuzisa abantwana babo. And again, kwinto enezifundo zabantwana, sine-partnership ne-University of Cape Town emane isiza apha esikolweni unyaka nonyaka to recruit learners. As I talk to you right now, kulo nyaka kwadutshwa abantwana about 5, University of Cape Town. It's rare to find a school from rural areas having about 5 students as Tumela University of Cape Town. Bengazubhatala ne-cent. So it's because of that partnership. We've got a partnership ne-KZN, that Central Applications Office, CAO. They send us the applications, we apply online. So these are the 2 main things that bring attention yabazali. Nokuthi abantwana sibaboni bepasa grade 12 nje kuphela sonele ilonto le, but sithi mabasuke baye as university, because at the end of the day, and asithi mabaye university, something that I've endilibeleyo apha, mathematics is done by all the students. We did away with the mathematical literacy, because mathematical literacy is very, very difficult, because it tests English yabantwana, because it's done in a language. Again, it's done in numbers. So abantwana ke ngoba betheka kabini, numerically and according to language. But then when you take mathematics, in as much as we destroy mathematics in Zim, that is far from the truth, Mr. Nomapro. In maths is very, very direct. Yes, the question may be a bit complicated for the learner because questions are asked at higher grade, but it's much, much easier than the mathematical literacy. So, a combination of things, because isikolo, Mr. Nomapro, kufana my day is a school in every way you look at it. And when parents say we are sending our kids to school, it must be a school in every facet of it. And I believe that Makaula S.S.S Secondary School is an example of what I call a true institution of learning. It is a school.
Now, any into be read, there are a lot of boreholes for purposes of water. Did you build those boreholes yourself?
In fact, if I can take you back without being, without sounding like I am blowing my own pipe and all of that, bragging and all of that. But then there was no fence here when I started in 2006 to speak of. There were no trees here. And you would find, because it was a girls' hostel then only, learners would be going to the river to fetch water. That was dangerous in terms of health and in terms of exposing learners to the risks of being raped and being abused in whatever manner by the people whom they would find in the river waiting for them.
Okay.
So the first thing I did, apart from the warnings that there is no water in this area, was to dig our first hole in 2007. And it's working until this date. We also dug a second borehole, so we have 2 boreholes here. The old hostel, if you would remember, it came out in the news. There was an article that was run by a certain media house, the hostels of shame.
Okay.
Now, our hostel featured in that publication. And so the Department of Education, and I thank the Department of Education, under the leadership of the late MEC Makula,
Okay.
they built us a very beautiful 6-dormitory hostel facility. We added another 6 dormitory.
Community was meeting according to a number of abantwana. It's big enough for abantwana.
Now, ndiyabulela msasazi kakhulu. Ndicinga ke umcimbi we-mathematics plays a very big role. Siqale ngokulungisa imeko i-subjects ezifundwayo ngabantwana. Because the understanding yethu is that ewe umsebenzi unqabile. Kodwa umsebenzi, I would say, awunqabanga. Into engenzekiyo is the shortage of skills that match the demand of the market.
Yes.
Now we felt that introducing maths as a compulsory subject would sort of equip these learners so that when they go to university, they are able to take up courses that would make them better people to be chased after by the employers. Now, sakonda ke ngoba imaths ewe inayo i-challenge. Njengoba isikolo sethu siqala ku-grade 8, sane classes, sanabantu esibacelayo abazi-experts e-primary, because thina apha esikoleni inkoliso ye-qualifications zethu zeza se-FET.
Okay.
So sacela ke abantu ke ababephaya kula phase ka-grade 8 no grade 9. Sa-introducer i-morning classes. Yayalula ke loo nto because sine-hostel facilities. Beza ke abatishara bathathu bezoncedisa every day. Sisenzela uba abantwana bafumane i-foundation. Izinto ke nyani ke sizibona sisiza kakuhle to even along 92% esithetha ngayo uze, because imaths yethu improvile, i-physical sciences yethu improvile. Ewe ayikazikafiki kwi-state esithi sonwabile ngaphakathi, because ekugqibeleni sifuna wonke umntwana makapasi. Kodwa sithi noba umntana ufumene u-level 2 e-mathematics, noko xa isiya noba kuse-FET college akafani nomntana ongakhange ayenze maths nowenze enye i-subject. Uyakwazi uzenza ezi subjects motor mechanic and so on and so on. Then senza i-boreholes apha ezimbini. Amanzi msasazi. With storage, as I speak, we have more than 135,000 liters ezithuleyo ngoku ezilinde abantwana that are pumped from our boreholes on a daily basis. So there has never been any shortage of water. But the challenge yethu ke kulo mcimbi une-electricity. Kodwa ke nalapho sinayo i-engine, a very big engine, engu-360 watts. So uba ngaba kuthatha umbane esinawo apha i-supply sika-Eskom, it's about 60 amps. So yinto engaphaya ke koba besinowudinga. So aside sibe na problem now, except that ke running an engine as compared to umbane from Eskom is very, very expensive. Ngibofumana ke i-approval from Eskom. Besicele uba makasenzele i-quotation. But nayo it's very expensive, but we are going to talk to our department because we have to put down 310,000 rand. The money that we do not have, but ekuzofuneka siyi-organizile noba siyi-organize kanjani na. But into ke senza uba sivuye into yoba this is a 3-phase electricity ezawukwazi ke ngoku ukuthi meet up with i-challenges like you talked of umcimbi wamanzi abantwana abahlamba ngawo. Be that as it may, akho mntana uhlamba ngamanzi abanayo esikolweni. Mandiyibeke le nto kwi-perspective yayo. Sine-facilities ezimbini apha, ema-boys kunye nama-girls. Unfortunately, xa kwakusakhiwa i-hostel yama-girls, kwafakwa ii-geysers eziconnectwa embaneni. But xa sizakhela thina i-hostel yama-boys, safaka i-solar geysers. So boys have never went without hot water. On top of that, wonke umntana apha esikolweni uvumelekile makeze neketile yakhe yombane. Because uyayazi nto yena athi eshawa abantwana uzawungena bemnye aphela amanzi eshaweni because ungena cule uthi engena wesihlanu amanzi selephelile. Sisithi ke mabazibekele amanzi abo. Zange ke sake sawelwa ngamanzi okanye nangombane, but that is unfortunate because azange yenzeke loo nto. Mandiyilungiseke le nto ngoba into yamantombazana iyavela, into yamantombazana abekelwa amanzi. Yes, siyawabekela amantombazana amanzi. Isizathu soba siwabekela amantombazana amanzi into yoba iigiza zasehostel yamantombazana ziyawusinda umbane. And so we decided ngoba at least masibe nawo umbane, masiziswitshe off ii-geysers because ku-single phase lo. Then isikolo sathenga ii-ends. Now ii-ends ke ngoku oo-anti bayabaplagela abantwana amanzi ekuseni kwii-ends so that bakwazi uhlamba. Sireplacea ii-geysers eziconsume umbane kakhulu. And in the near future, in the izigiza zasehostel amantombazana zibe ziswitchwe off will be a thing of the past. Ayizuba into eyenzekayo. Xa ndandiqala apha msasazi, there were no toilets to speak of. To date, we've got about 26 toilets for amantombazana and about 22 toilets for our boys. I think that's a huge achievement. Kulendo in a sanitation, especially around into a school. It says pit toilets. We think that going forward, from a solid ground, as a pit toilets so a hostel is flushed toilets for both boys and girls. Yes, we have pit toilets in a corner with boys and girls, but zenzelelwe emergency. Xa kusithwa mhlawumbi ziblokile eza ngaphakathi bakwazi uba basebenzise i-pit toilet. Not uba bayazisebenzisa kusetyenziswa i-pit toilet, but as into ene-emergency. Ndifike apha Bhele, I'm sorry, Bhele, sine-classrooms eziyi-13.
Okay.
Together with ESGB, we built 15 additional classrooms. We were using classes as staff rooms. To date, we've got a staff room esakhiweyo by the school. Namhlanje sine-nutrition center eyayingekho abantwana betyela phandle kuneholo ngola kwa-nutrition. Namhlanje sineliholo msasaza nanoba ungakhe ujikelezisa ikhamera yakho na. Sineliholo elakhiwe sisikolo i-SGB kunye nabazali. Eliholo endiqinisekile because besiligqiba kunyaka. Ndiqinisekile in the near future kuzawuqhutyelwa iminyhadala apha e-district, kuzawuqhutyelwa intlanganiso apha ze-community, imigcobo yonke into. Incedisa le community bendithetha ngayo ekubeni bangaqeshi intente msasazi. Bangaqeshi intente batshone baze bazowusebenzisa into nake xa kuthiwa kunge-holiday umzekelo singazuphazamisa ii-programs zofunda. Kodwa eliholo lele-community sine-library apha esikolweni esiyenze nge-collaboration no-advocate Makaula ozalwa kule lali, library esetyenziswa yilali nesetyenziswa ngabantwana besikolo. Now ilist inde msasazi yezinto esenzileyo. Sinemithi namhlanje besola sinojwabaza apha esikolweni oyazi into yoba udangerous kangakanani nakwi-environment. Namhlanje sayireplace loo. Thank you again to i-local municipality yethu uMzimvubu osincedisileyo to transform into ye-environment apha esikolweni. Ukuba ngaba namhlanje kubuzwa isikolo xa kufika kwamasipala esithi batshatsheleyo kwinto ne-greening, aba-hesitate babathatha aba bantu bazobazisa bazobabonisa iMakaula, because iMakaula is a leading school in Mount Freya insofar as greening is concerned. Apha msasazi esikolweni abantwana once bangene abahambi eludakeni kuhanjwa esamenteni yonke indawo. Sina 12 dormitories for amantombazana, sina 7 dormitories for ama-boys. Zonke ke ezo zinto zizinto ezenzeke after 2006 emveni koba ndi-actile apha. Sithathe isikolo msasazi sinabantwana abayi-185. Namhlanje there are more than 1,000. Ootishara babeyi-6 uqala kwethu apha esikolweni ngo-2006. Namhlanje sina 53 ootishara kunye ne-10 additional teachers ze-SGB msasazi. We have added apha music kwi-curriculum yethu, sa-addisha i-tourism kwi-curriculum yethu, sayenza into yokokuba i-science related subjects mazibe dominant apha esikolweni ukwenzela uba abantwana xa bephuma apha esikolweni bangaphumi bakhaba amatye apha esithubeni, bakwanto bazawuya eyunivesithi. Njengoba besenditshilo sine-collaboration nee-universities ezimbini. Besides ke msasazi into yase-UCT, I was found by University of Stellenbosch ngo-2017 to say that abantwana bethu abakwi-science faculties aba-admithwe ngo-2017 there are about 12. That is not a joke msasazi. University of Stellenbosch, you know, its stakes are too high there. If you can have from Makaula S.S.S secondary school abantwana who are in the region of 12 they admithwa in science faculties kwi-University of Stellenbosch, iyakuxelela into yoba ootishara baseMakaula they are in the class of their own, bayafundisa nee-results zithetha loo nto msasazi. So zizinto ke msasazi ezi nangona ke kungoneleki kwinto ne-development, kodwa sithi noko zizinto ezenzekileyo ezi ukuqala ngo-2006 uzothi xa ngoku.
Now le nto ye-COVID ke ngoku na iye yaveza imibuzo emininzi ngeMakaula, and le mibuzo emininzi i-negative. Uyayibona, would you blame the media ukuba yiyo libhebhethekisa le nto okanye ngabantu abangazinto mhlawumbi?
Msasazi andiye ndithande ukugxeka, andingomntu wokugxeka abanye abantu. Instead ndiye ndijonge kum into okokuba yintoni mhlawumbi endiyenze wrong. Now ndicima bububele apha kum nokungathi adhere ncam kwi-policies ze-Department of Education, because njengoba usazi abazali bathumela abantwana kwizikolo bafike bangahambi isikolo ngoba bayahlalisana. Now once ube ne-hostel ibe yamantombazana namakhwenkwe, ngokujonga kwezi zifo zifana no-COVID ziyalana nendawo exineneyo msasazi, ibangele ke ngoku loo nto leyo iphinde kapha esikolweni khona nabantwana ke nyhani ke ndizoyithetha le nto who are over age. So yengeza ke ngoku izinto uba mazibe nzimanyana ukuoperate kwethu apha esikolweni because bathetha kuthethwa msasazi, kodwa ke uThixo usenathi kude kube ngoku. Into ene-COVID msasazi akukho mntu ebeyaziyo, kodwa ke siphila kumaxesha e-outbreaks, ziba khona i-outbreaks kumaxesha ngamaxesha. So le nto ndithi andinawugxeka media because outbreak iyavela, but fortunately ayo outbreak emanated from Makaula izisukela kuloo ndawo izisukela kuyo yafika ke ii-conditions naphina zivuma eSouth Africa. So andizugxeka mntu ngayo, kodwa ke ndicima fanuba we are on top of things, but i-problem ke ngokumsasazi it's when other grades come back. But ke siprezentile to the Department of Education ukuthi we think ukuthi xa bebuya abanye abantwana ingaske into ezithile nezithile zibe sele sezi-in place, i-department yethu ke ithembisile ngezo zinto. So ndithetha ukuthi msasazi ngokoba sisapota na-Department of Education nakwezithembiso zayo, ezi-grades zibuya nge-24 ka-August zizawubuya noko imicimbi imihle kakhulu.
It means even tensions that were in school now, they are subsidizing now. About ubuya yonke into right.
Nale msasazi yento ibine-strike ebesingekho, ebesikhona apha esikolweni, le nto uyithetha ibisisama-boys strike. Now iyaxelela ke into yoba akuno-strike ama-boys ama-girls afunde kanti abantwana baphetheke kakubi. Into nama-boys had there are small pertinent issues. Andisuthetha ke msasazi nge-suspicions ze-third force nangantoni, kodwa ke it's enough to say that i-Department of Education has conducted an investigation around the issue of strike, because when they looked at grievances abantwana, that did not warrant ukuthi abantwana mabade baye estriking, because ibizizinto ezi ebesinolungiseka when abantwana beziraise nabantwana babo, into zoba kutshintshwe amaxesha okutya, bahlamba ngamanzi abandayo, zizinto ezo because banekhetile ukulungisa nje i-perceptions zabantwana, because into ebenzele into makhalazi ngento amanzi abandayo into abesithi abantwana bangamantombazana bayabekelwa amanzi. Ndiyicacisile ke msasazana ndizokutyela inantsika ixesha ngalo nantsi.
Right, mhlawumbi ingabe ikhona into esiyilibeleyo kuyibuza orhalelayo wena into okokubana ungayithetha ebantwini?
Msasazi akukho nto oyilibeleyo, kodwa ke mandiqale kuqala ndibulele ithuba eli osinikelwa. Kuyaqaleka msasazi, andingomntu othandayo uthetha koonondaba. Ndiyaqala uthetha noonondaba ngale ndlela ndithetha ngayo nawe for into yoba khe sibeke nathi icala lethu sisisikolo silungise mhlawumbi ke esingathi zizawulunga namhlanje, kodwa ke noko abantu emveni koludliwanondlebe ndiqinisekile into yokokuba noko bazaba nezinto ezincinci okanye ezinkulu abazikhayo. iMakaula msasazi sisikolo njengesinye izikolo esitsala nzima msasazi, kodwa ke into esenza sibe nomahluko kwizikolo ezininzi into yokokuba kwa indlela esenza ngayo izinto. You know, xa sasiqala msasazi ngo-2006 kwi-administration ephantsi kwam, we benchmarked ourselves ngezikolo ezininzi, i-St. John's College kunye neMariazelle eMatatiyeni, to say ukuze siqiniseke into yoba senza yona kufuneka into yoba sidade kwesasiziba i-St. John's kunye neMariazelle ezidade kuso ndiqinisekile ke ngoku umsasazi intoba noko nawe xa ujongile as much as uba umsebenzi omninzi ke apha esikolweni usenziwa ngabazali kunye ne-SGP kodwa noko ngoku nazo ezo zikolo ziyasiva umfutho wethu into yokokuba iMakaula Senior Secondary School ikhona. Yinto ke le msasazi esinethemba lokuyenza uThixo esasinike amandla. Mandibulele ke kubazali abathumela abantwana babo eMakaula msasazi. Ndibulele kurhulumente osixhasayo, ndibulele i-community yaseligangeni ekhokhelwa ngumama uNokwezi Makaula kunye naye wonke umuntu osixhasayo kwesi sikolo ngamandla akhe, ngemali yakhe nangemithandazo yakhe. Ndibulele ke msasazi ngoba ibiyiveki yokuqala le ndiphangela. Ndinyanzelwa ke zimeko msasazi ziba mandiphangele befamla andikaphangeli kodwa ke noko bathe abantwana bam besawundibona bavuya msasazi baqiniseka into yokuba nezo zinto bebezikhalazela zizawulunga ngoba ndikhona. Emnyanisweni ke bagodukile izolo njengoba upresident ebethe bagoduke bevuya kama bebeseke singasafuni ugoduka. Into ndathi ke kuba ndinale veki ndiye ndayiphangela esikolweni ebendingamelanga uba ndiyiphangele ndathi hayi bantwana bam nam ndicela okay siyithathe le veki ukwenzela uba nam ndizokhe ndikwazi ukuphumla sibuye ke ngoku ngomhla wesithathu sonke sinamandla sikwazi ufocus. Ndiyabulela kakhulu umsasazi ngeli thuba. Enkosi kakhulu.
Ukugqibela ungathini kubantu ukuze bakwazi ukuzikhusela kwesi sifo se-COVID?
Msasazi kuba ke ngoku abantu bandiqale ndilungiselele uba ndinganxibanga i-face mask msasazi, i-mouthpiece coverage. Noko ndibafana uba i-social distancing siyibambile, ndihlonipha lo mcimbi unokuthi abantu bandibone ingabi ngathi yinto le eyenziwa yile mibutho yorhubuluzo yozigumubuso kunje kungaziwa ncamncam into yokokuba ubani lo othethayo, kwaziwe into yoba ayonto le ayilodlwanondlebe olu lomkokotelo, ludlwanondlebe elenziwa noMbana onguprincipal waseMakaula Senior Secondary School. I-COVID msasazi, from what the experts are saying, into yohlamba izandla, sisanitize, singabulisani, sigcine i-social distancing, nawo zonke iziyalo ezenziwa ngurhulumente nazisebe lezempilo. Ndithi abantu bakuthi bathi chu nazo msasazi iyabulala i-COVID. From a personal experience, mna njengomntu ovuka kumandlalo yokufa bese kukhona nezinto ezithi ndilishile elihlabathi, iyabulala msasazi. It was a narrow escape. Impilo yami iphakathi kozipho nenyama. Ngamandla ke mithandazo nogqirha bendinakekele nonesi ndiye ndakwazi ukuphonca. Ayonto ke leyo enoba lithamsa ngqa kumuntu nomuntu. Ndiphinde ke msasazi ndilungise lento. Masingayithembi ncam into ethi xa umntu wahlaselwa sesi sigulo se-COVID awunophinda uhlaselwe. Masingayithembi loo nto ngoba siphefumla umoya omnye nabantu abangekabi nayo i-COVID. So ingenzeka into yoba uba ngaba wena izokuhlasela kodwa wena uzawukwazi ukosulela umntu ongekaguli i-COVID. So kubalulekile ke noba ukhe wagula yiyo waphinda waphila, hlala ngokwale ndlela amagosa ezempilo acebisa ngakhona. Iyabulala i-COVID msasazi. Abantu bakuthi mabayazi. Enkosi msasazi.